Number 10. The Spirit of 76. Time to get some love for the Crusaders. British superhero teams don't get enough attention. Sadly, always spotlighting the only American member of the Crusaders, but what are you gonna do? William Sassoon began his heroics in the US, based on the original Captain America, but later moved to Great Britain to join the Crusaders, and he fought a whole whack of Nazis. After the Crusaders broke up, he decided he hadn't had enough Nazi killing and continued fighting for the Allies. He went on a whole bunch of cool adventures, and it was just neat to see a Cap that spent so much time in Britain. Number 9. Spider King Cap. In the events of Spider Island, Cap was caught by the Jackal and was turned into a mutant spider, referred to as a Spider King. He was then filled with thousands of eggs in hopes of spreading the spider virus. After being captured by Venom, he escaped by throwing up a bunch of spiders. He was eventually caught and turned back to normal and joined the fight against the Spider Queen. Interesting story, and my goodness does he look disturbing. I hate spiders so much. Number 8. Cap transformed by Kulan Gath. In Uncanny X-Men number 190, the wizard Kulan Gath created a barrier of magic that caused anyone who passed through to be transformed and transported to a realm where sorcery is king. In this reality, Captain America actually looked more like Thor, with long blonde hair and a golden belt, but still had his classic shield. He looked pretty cool, and the story itself really appealed to me as a lover of fantasy. And even if you don't like fantasy, if you want to see Storm in a stupidly skimpy outfit, now's your chance. Number 7. Lil Cap. In giant-sized Little Marvel, we saw little versions of various Marvel heroes, including Iron Man, Black Widow, and Captain America. And yes, it's as adorable as you think it would be. Taking place on the happy little intersection of Avengers Street and X-Men Way, we see a bunch of child versions beating the crap out of each other. And they have cooking contests. Cap is pretty hilarious looking, as are many of the others, and it's pretty funny to see them in wholesome childish competition. But Hawkeye is definitely the cutest. No wait, Cyclops is the cutest. No wait, Wolverine is the cutest. Okay, they're all cute. Number 6. Punisher Cap. What if the Punisher became Captain America? Steve Rogers was gravely wounded in a fight with Red Skull. When Nick Fury was tasked with finding a replacement for Rogers, he eventually chose Frank Castle, who was serving a sentence in Vietnam at the time following his military service. Castle initially refused, leading the National Security Council to unsuccessfully try other dudes, all of whom failed. After his family was executed, Castle changed his mind and became Captain America. While initially showing the same brutality that he did as Punisher, which was pretty awesome, he's later convinced by Steve Rogers to be a little more subtle with his heroics. Either way, it's damn cool to see Frank Castle kicking butt as Captain America. Number 5. Marvel Knights America the Beautiful Cap. I know what you're thinking. Marvel Knights? Must be a really cool version of Captain America with an awesome sword, right? In Marvel Knights Millennial Visions, we saw a reality where a beauty pageant contestant wished for world peace, as they all do, but this time it came true. But with peace everywhere, there wasn't a heck of a lot for the heroes to do. In Captain America's case, he opened up a car dealership where he sells Japanese imports, and he got a pot belly. Boom! Looking good, Cap. Number 4. Hydra Cap. Yep, I'm gonna address the elephant in the room. While this is not a popular version of Captain America for many people, I'm among the few who actually think this storyline is pretty cool. And while it's pretty disturbing seeing Cap celebrating Hydra, it's super intriguing. Kobik, the embodiment of the Cosmic Cube, decided that Hydra was the correct belief. So when she tried to return Captain Normal to heal him and return him to his perfect form, she changed his past so that he was a Hydra agent all along. Now I, like many of you, was super pissed off when I first saw the reveal, but the explanation has been given since has made me actually quite like the story. And anyone who says it isn't intriguing to have Captain America working for Hydra is a liar. You know, even if you think it's stupid, it's pretty damn cool. Number 3. Deathlock Cap. In the reality of Earth 11045, all superhumans were converted into Deathlocks, cyborg versions of themselves under the control of Deathlock himself. In the reality of Earth 11045, a bunch of superhumans were converted into Deathlocks, cyber versions of themselves under the control of Deathlock himself. Seen in Uncanny X-Force, it was a pretty sick version of Cap. Sent from the future to obtain the world, this Cap was totally brutal, willing to do whatever he has to in order to complete his mission due to his programming. Plus, he looked just awesome. He was eventually captured by X-Force and taken back from Deathlock's control, and when he realized what he had done, he killed himself. Can't really blame him, he'd done some pretty messed up things. Number 2. Age of X-Cap. In the Age of X storyline, Captain America was part of a team tasked with the extermination of mutants. When he and his team arrived at Fortress X, he killed Mystique thinking that she was a threat, but it turns out she was just protecting a bunch of mutant children. Realizing the error in his ways, Cap called off the mission and was forced to kill Steel Corpse, that world's version of Iron Man, when his suit tried to kill the children anyway. This Cap then went on to defend Fortress X, inspiring the mutants to join together and fight united. Number 1. The Captain. In Planet Hulk number 1, we saw Captain America fighting like a gladiator in an arena, having just claimed victory alongside Devil Dinosaur. This Cap is just one big dude, looking more like Conan the Barbarian than the Cap we know. He strives to locate Bucky, first trying to force Arcade into telling him inside Devil Dinosaur. Don't ask. Then he goes to save Bucky from the Red King, while riding on Devil Dinosaur. With the help of Doc Green, he makes his way through a treacherous environment to save his friend. And the creatures are some of the coolest I've seen in ages. Seriously, if you haven't read this, do it, because it's so freaking cool to see a barbarian Cap destroying bad guys with a giant T-Rex. Number 10. Batman and Captain America Cap. In the 1996 Elseworlds comic, we see Cap and Bucky meet Batman and Robin during an alternative World War II, working together to fight against the Red Skull and the Joker. I have to admit, this Cap isn't particularly different from our usual, although it was really great seeing him fight alongside Batman. But Joker absolutely stole the show on this one. When he realizes that Red Skull is a Nazi, he goes, "I may be a criminal lunatic, but I'm an American criminal lunatic," and blows up the bomb prematurely, killing both of them. It's one of my favorite comic book moments of all time, and for that reason, I just couldn't leave this off the list. Number 9. Scott Summers. On Earth 81122, Cyclops, Jean Grey, and Captain America lost their powers due to complications with Reed Richards' experiment to cure the Thing's condition. After Steve rapidly ages and dies, a powerless Scott Summers takes on the mantle of Captain America. While not the most exciting and certainly not the most powerful version of Captain America, it was cool to see Cyclops take on the role, and particularly admirable that he would do so even without any powers. Number 8. Marvel Apes Cap. This was just an epic and strange version. Weird monkey versions of heroes? Check. Vampires? Check. Brutality? Check. In this universe, Captain America is the leader of the Ape Vengers, containing a number of Avengers and reformed villains. But it turned out that this wasn't actually the real Cap, but really the simian version of the vampire Baron Blood in disguise, with the real Cap still frozen. Eventually, the real Cap is thawed and goes out to save the day, but the idea of Captain America in the form of a gorilla who's really a vampire is pretty great. Number 7. Earth X Cap. In the post-apocalyptic Earth X series, we see the haggard Captain America with a bald head, torn American flag clothes, and an A-shaped scar on his face, still fighting the good fight. After sacrificing himself to save Captain Marvel, he's changed into a sort of angel with blue skin, a white star on his chest, and a blade of light on his arm. Basically having his skin transformed into his costume. He's an angel with blue skin. He's a blue angel. This Cap went from a broken yet strong hero to a mighty angel, and the story was pretty interesting to boot. Number 6. General America. In Deadpool Merc with a Mouth number 7, Deadpool comes across an alternate world where Captain America is actually General America and is in pursuit of Lady Deadpool. So Deadpool chucks his zombie version Headpool after Cap. After the zombie bites Cap's arm, Deadpool chops it off so that they don't spread the zombie virus, but that doesn't stop Cap coming back in Deadpool core with a sick new cybernetic arm. You can't stop the Cap. Number 5. Mutant X Cap. In the Mutant X universe, the mantle of Captain America is taken over by an unnamed mutant who joins the Six to protect mutants from the deranged SHIELD organization. He has enhanced strength and speed, as well as energy manipulation powers that show themselves when America is threatened. He's incredibly powerful, killing a group of super soldiers and Avengers, including Black Widow, Hawkeye, and Iron Giant Man. I love me a powered up Cap, and this version was among the strongest. And the coolest. Number 4. Sam Wilson. After Steve Rogers lost his super soldier powers, he passed the mantle of Captain America to Sam, who became the all-new Captain America. Keeping his vibranium wings he had used as the Falcon and gaining Cap's vibranium shield, Sam Wilson basically became the king of vibranium. I really liked Wilson's version of Captain America, mostly because the wings made him a lot more powerful and made his fights really creative. While he lacked the brute strength and speed of Steve Rogers, he made up for it with his aerial abilities. Number 3. Civil War Cap. In the What If issue, What If Captain America Lived in the American Civil War, Steve Rogers was a corporal in a northern force led by Colonel Buck Barnes. When he refused to kill civilians, Bucky tried to kill him for being a traitor, but he was fittingly saved by a frickin' eagle. After being dragged away by horses, he awakens to find himself being taken care of by a native doctor who performs a ceremony giving him his super soldier powers. Bucky then arrives, showing himself to be the White Skull, but Cap defeats him by throwing his shield, which transforms into a golden eagle spirit in flight. The comic could basically be called America, yeah! But it was really great. Number 2. Vampire Cap. In the Forever Avengers arc of Exiles, we saw an alternative reality where Captain America was changed into a vampire by Baron Blood. He then goes on to turn the other Avengers and becomes the Vampire King. He leads the cursed Avengers on a mission to turn the people of New York into zombies, but is stopped by the Exiles and eventually killed by the grandnephew of the original Baron Blood. Seeing Cap go bad is awesome, and seeing him go bad as a vampire is even better. Number 1. Bucky Barnes. Now, I left Bucky off the last list because I thought he was too well known, but it seems a lot of you were disappointed with his absence, so here he is. After Steve Rogers stepped down as Captain America, the world needed a new Star-Spangled Man. With a new costume laced with adamantium and his mind free of subliminal commands, Barnes went out to fight crime with his trusty pistol and combat knife. Bucky has found a huge amount of popularity, almost as much as Steve Rogers, and his comics are really great, whether on his own or in the New Avengers. Number 10. Captain Americat. As if I'd forget the larval Earth version. In this world, the superheroes take the form of anthropomorphic animals such as Peter Porker's Spider-Ham and Iron Mouse. In this reality, Steve Rogers is actually Steven Mouser. Yeah, this name wasn't really their best work. It could have been Steve Clawgers or something. But I digress. Captain Americat is, like all the heroes of Earth 8311, pretty ridiculous. But these comics will always have a place in my heart. Number 9. Revived William Burnside. In What If number 44, the question was asked, what if Captain America were revived today? With today meaning in 1984. In this issue, the anti-communist Captain America of the 50s, William Burnside, was revived before the discovery of a frozen Steve Rogers. Since he still felt all the negative emotions that came from the Cold War propaganda, Burnside helped Senator Norman Chadwick to push the agenda of an evil secret empire. Luckily, Steve Rogers was thawed and saved the day alongside Spider-Man, Nick Fury, and Sam Wilson. But it's really cool to see what profound effects Cap could have on the world if he chose to use his power and influence for evil. Number 8. Zombie Cap. The world of Marvel zombies was a strange one, with all our favorite heroes being turned into zombies that loved to eat things. In this story, Steve Rogers was Colonel America and became President of the United States before turning into a zombie. And when the world is threatened by Galactus, the zombies fight back, first eating Silver Surfer and then using the power cosmic to defeat Galactus. But when they're all arguing about who gets to eat Galactus, Red Skull yanked out Cap's brains. That's what you get for hanging out with zombies. Number 7. Super Soldier. The Amalgam comics are often a great source for alternate heroes, and they definitely don't disappoint here. In this version, Captain America and Superman were merged together to create Super Soldier, which might sound a bit lame, but it's definitely better than Captain Man. In this version, a human Clark Kent received a serum from the blood of an infant alien, giving him super abilities. He's then frozen and thawed to complete the Captain America story. This is a really cool version of Cap. You get to see the strong points of both characters in action. Though he might seem a tad OP, he's kept in check by the prevalence of the Green K meteorite fragments, which end up weakening him considerably. Number 6. Ultimate Captain America. In 2002's The Ultimates number 2, Captain America was thawed out and quickly became the leader of the Ultimates, the Avengers of that world. He's pretty similar to the normal Cap with all the honor and heroics and whatnot, but he does have certain quirks unique to him. He's somewhat more cynical and violent than our Cap, and stronger, so straight up cooler in my books. Plus, he actually became President of the United States for a time in Ultimate Comics Ultimates number 15, although at this point literally any character can become president and I'll buy it. Number 5. Cap 1602. In this story, Captain America takes the form of a blonde Native American named Rogers. Rogers, get it? Of course you do, it's incredibly on the nose, but that's okay. Turns out that after making himself president using his powers, the Purple Man had shot the modern Rogers and sent him back in time rather than killing him so he couldn't become a martyr in death. He's eventually sent back to his own time, but his time in 1602 was really neat, even if the whole blonde native thing was a bit weird. Number 4. Danielle Cage. This Cap of Earth 15061 was pretty sick, and not just because she's a woman. In this future reality, Danielle Cage was the daughter of Jessica Jones and Luke Cage, gaining the strength and durability of her parents. Wielding a voice-controlled shield, Cage becomes her world's official Captain America. She's a pretty wicked Cap and made quite a splash in the 2015 comic series Avengers Ultron Forever, since she's one of the strongest versions of Captain America. And a woman, which is pretty great. Number 3. 2099 Thor Cap. There were a few Captain Americas that took on the mantle in 2099. One was a Steve Rogers clone, another was an unwilling super soldier Roberta Mendez, but the coolest, in my opinion, is the 2099 version of Cap, who took up Mjolnir and became the new Thunder God. In this version, the 2099 Spider-Man Miguel O'Hara convinces a newly thawed Steve Rogers to take on the role of Thor to help to rebuild the world. While we've seen Cap take up the hammer from time to time, it's so cool to see him actually take on the role and pick up Thor's powers. Number 2. Captain Werewolf. That's right, werewolf. And it happened a few times. In Captain America number 402, Cap was captured by the villain Nightshade and subjected to a serum that turned him into a wolf creature. He fights with Wolverine for a bit, then joins Cable in taking down Starwolf. But we weren't done with Werewolf Cap yet. In 2012, we saw him wolf it up in Secret Avengers number 33. Attempting to spread his influence alongside of Vampire Wolverine and Franken Punisher, they square off against our Hawkeye, Beast, and Captain Britain and just get wrecked. It's just so cool to see Cap going crazy like this. I really love when heroes are reimagined as freaky creatures. Number 1. Bullet Points Cap. This one takes place in a really cool world where one small change in the form of a spy drastically altered the world. In this version, Dr. Erskine was killed by a German spy before giving Steve Rogers a super soldier serum. However, Steve went on to take part in Project Iron Man, where he was permanently fused with an armor to help defeat the Axis, working with a powerless Reed Richards. The same spy killed Peter Parker's Uncle Ben before he could raise Peter, who is eventually exposed to gamma radiation, becoming the Hulk, while Bruce Banner is the one who becomes Spider-Man. It's a really cool story, and it's interesting to see Steve with a totally different backstory and equipment.
In at number 10, Cap Wolf. Back in 1992 in Captain America issue 402, Cap became a werewolf. Yep. So for context, at this point in time, John Jameson, the son of J.J. Jameson, who also happened to be Cap's personal pilot, was a werewolf. And after a body shows up in the woods and John goes missing, Cap goes on a hunt for him. Long story short, he stumbles into a town rotten with werewolves and ends up getting injected by a serum that turns him into one. Because he already has the super soldier serum in him, Cap is able to keep his mind intact while in werewolf form, and learns from mutant Wolfsbane how to communicate. He's held captive, but eventually comes up with a plan to escape. And since, Cap Wolf has reoccurred a few times in the comics. It's worth noting that this is the only alternate version of the hero that appears in the 616 continuity on our list. Moving on to one that doesn't though, in at number 9, President Rogers from the Ultimate Universe. In the Ultimate Universe, Earth 1610, Steve Rogers' origins are quite similar to his 616 counterpart, except his abilities, thanks to the serum, have been bumped up to superhuman, particularly his strength. The hero can bend steel with his bare hands, he can jump extremely long distances, and can even catch trees heavy enough to smash a jeep. He can heal from gunshots and knife wounds within a matter of hours and heal broken bones within a day. When he's thawed out in present day, he ends up joining the Ultimates, this universe's version of the Avengers, and eventually in Ultimate Comics Ultimates, he ends up becoming president after Barack Obama is killed. And at number 8, The Chosen. Strength isn't just superficial muscle, friends. This version of Steve Rogers is living proof of that. Or technically, unliving now. Captain America: The Chosen was a story that came out in 2007 and explored a storyline inspired by the tragedy of 9/11. A soldier who's sent to Afghanistan, US Marine Corps Private James Newman, begins his first tour of duty, and Steve Rogers' spirit joins him on the battlefield as a guardian angel of sorts. This is all while the real Steve Rogers, now old and bedridden, slowly dies in a hospital. By the end of it, old Steve passes away, but his spirit ends up living on, personifying the American spirit, with the US government having come up with the device that allows him to project his spirit all over the planet. It's definitely a different kind of power for the hero, but one that suits his patriotic identity well, and makes him a powerful symbol to many real-life heroes in need. And at 7, Vampire Cap. In the Exiles universe, Earth 3931, Captain America gets turned into a vampire after he's infected by Baron Blood, all during World War II. Because of this, he ends up turning all of his other Avengers teammates into vampires as well. The Exiles appear with the intention of fixing this reality, but eventually Rogers and his team of vampires end up being defeated, with Rogers personally being decapitated by one of Wolverine's claws. But having no head did not stop Steve. He ended up reattaching his head to his body. The super soldier serum, combined with his vampirism, amplified his strength, stamina, reflexes, and agility, and even allowed him to teleport. In addition to that, he's got an incredibly strong healing factor. Clearly, he'd need one in order to survive getting his head cut off. And at number 6, Carol Danvers from Earth 2301. Earth 2301 is the manga-verse, and in it, there is a Steve Rogers, but he too assumes the role of the US president. Carol Danvers also takes up the mantle though. Unlike her 616 counterparts, she seemingly does not have her human Kree physiology, but still possesses super strength and near invulnerability, having survived a plane crash, taken a sword blow to the back, and had electricity pumped through her body, all of which gave her no long-term injuries. Having been a part of the US Air Force that was stationed in Japan, Carol finds herself gaining her superpowers after her base was destroyed and she was attacked. Now these potentially dormant powers were activated and she ends up taking on the Hand, and even rescues Spider-Man in the process right before he's supposed to be executed. And at number 5, Zombie Colonel America. Zombie Colonel America has all of the abilities as the 616 Captain America. Plus, he's a zombie. While there wasn't much context given on what Steve's life was like prior to the zombie plague, one thing is different about his backstory. He too served as the President of the United States. Definitely picking up on a theme here, you guys. He and other members of the Avengers become infected when trying to fight off zombified Sentry. But good old Cap, after his zombie appetite is satiated for a little bit, he and other Avengers still attempt to brainstorm how to stop the plague, which doesn't really work out because he and other members end up going on a killing spree when it's discovered that Latveria contains a ton of grub for him and his zombie pals to mow down on. In at 4, Captain America, Earth 1298. From the Mutant X universe, this version of Cap isn't Steve Rogers. Rather, he's an unnamed mutant who ends up taking up the mantle of the hero. Now the original Captain America was killed in a Sentinel attack at the Avengers Mansion. This unnamed version is given the Super Soldier Serum, which, while it makes him insanely strong and amplifies his mutant powers so that he can increase his mass, strength, is capable of telepathy, creating force fields, and is near invulnerable, it also makes him insane, and his mutant powers flare uncontrollably. Moving on to number 3, Danielle Cage. Captain America has always had a great respect for Luke Cage. So it's kinda neat that in this alternate universe, Luke's daughter, Danielle Cage, would take up the Captain America mantle. From Earth 15061, Danielle has not only inherited the powers of her parents Luke and Jessica Jones, but she's also become a member of the Avengers. So with the strength and invulnerability of her father, combined with the superhuman strength, durability, and flight of her mother, needless to say, Danielle is a version of Cap that any villain would find difficult to take on. Up next, number 2, Super Soldier. From the Amalgam Comics. Superman is arguably the most powerful metahuman in the DC universe. Arguably. So, combine all of the Man of Steel's abilities with Steve Rogers' mind, and damn, that's one hell of a deadly superhero. Meet Clark Kent, the Super Soldier, from the Amalgam Comics, a series in which DC and Marvel Comics amalgamated their heroes. Clark Kent is given a Super Soldier Serum that was created from DNA that was harvested from the corpse of baby Kal-El. A little dark, eh? The serum gives Clark all of his Superman powers. He's later frozen in ice at the end of World War II, revived decades later, and then returns to the mantle. And finally, in at number 1, Soldier Supreme. What's stronger than a Captain America crossover with Superman? Well, how about one who crosses over with the Sorcerer Supreme? Superman ain't got nothing on magic. Enter Soldier Supreme, one of the most recent alternate universe Steve Rogers creations. This one, who appeared in the Infinity Wars story event, was the product of Gamora using the Infinity Stones to fold the universe in half, amalgamating many characters into one persona and putting them into the warp world inside of the Soul Gem. Such was the case with Steve Rogers and Stephen Strange. They became Steven Rogers, a man in World War II who volunteered for an experimental procedure from the US Army, in which he was injected with a Super Soldier Serum that turns out was actually a cover for mystic rituals. Steven gets all of the strength he got from the serum in the 616 universe, but also gains the ability to wield powerful magic. Unlike the 616 Cap, instead of being frozen in ice for years, he gets trapped in the Dark Dimension, while combating Red Skull's amalgam, Dormammu Red, but eventually gets out when a cult on Earth opens up the dimension in a failed attempt to summon Satan.